Hello, very good evening to you. My name's Leanne and welcome to my crafty cupboard. So tonight I am going to, and it is night time. Normally I stitch in the morning, but home alone, got a rare night to myself. I want to work on this. Look, the moths went to town on my husband's jumper. Can we see? Yeah, there we go. Holes everywhere. They found this utterly delicious. So I am going to take some cool wool, gorgeous silk ribbons, and just have fun embroidering all over the holes. Maybe I'll end up with a beautiful wearable garment at the end. If not, I'll cut it up and use it for different projects. Thinking of cutting it at the end, if it works, down the center and attaching some ribbon on the edges to make it into a cute cardigan. I'm also daydreaming of a pretty frill hanging off the bottom. So let's get started. Did I say cashmere before? It's merino wool. It's very soft though, that's why it probably tricked me. So I'm going to start with this hole. And I am going to start with just this. I'm going to do a, a spider web rose, a woven rose. How have you been? Thank you for spending some time with me. Hopefully we enjoy what we do here. We might end up with a result that we love. Either way, we'll have had fun along the way. And welcome to the 1 hour long video of Leanne trying to thread a needle. There we are. So, a woven. You know what I'm thinking though, because they ate that and it seems to be quite a large hole, doesn't it? Is it going to keep going? We should investigate that. Is it going to keep going? I think it is. I think we need to put a stop to it. So I think even though we're not going to darn it, we're just going to embroider over it. We need to probably get some thread and stop that happening for a minute. Let me get some thread. Sorry, I started the party without you. I forgot to turn the camera back on. So I've just got some ordinary Gutermann polyester thread because these are going to keep laddering. So I'm not overly stressed about the quality of my darning. I'm just going in that loop and catching what I can of the little layers that are here still. I want to be careful to not pucker it because I don't want to pucker. I might go up the row next to it. And it might be some time to do some sort of back and forth. So please don't follow this as a darning tutorial because this is not going to result in a neat pattern. This will be very noticeable darning. It will hopefully resolve the issue of it continuing to grow larger. just doing some stitches, weaving their way in and out, back across. We're right in the thick of winter now. It's cold. And I find going in and out of the cold and then into air-conditioned environments really takes its toll on my skin. My skin reacts very violently to air-conditioned air. It burns quite red like windburn. And I get very puffy under the eyes. So we don't use our air conditioner at home for winter because we don't like it. We whinge non-stop about how cold it is. We have a gas heater in one room that does a really good job in that room, and then, you know, it stops the rest of the house from freezing. I remember I really struggled when I went to Germany in my late teens, because everything was heated, and the insides of my nose actually all cracked and bled. A lovely lady I was staying with taught me about oil and using oil, because even though Australia doesn't get the extremes of cold compared to other places, we don't, well, we didn't when I was a child. It's changing. We didn't heat anything very much, you know. We just put on an extra jumper or learn to deal with it. And our homes are rubbish. They really are. There's no such thing as double glazing here, or the roofs get insulated, but typically the walls don't. Right, well, that's given us a bit more of a solid surface to work with. You know, that's not horrendous. I could probably actually, you know, happily wear a jumper in that condition. But still, we came here to do some fun pretty. Let's do some fun pretty. So, a woven rose is really, really easy and super effective. So what you do, think about the letter Y. Y. So look at that. I tied a knot in both ends. I thought, why is not one end coming through? That would be because you tied both of them. When did I tie 2 knots? Okay, so that's the top of the Y. This is the other top of the Y. So make the rest of the Y going to come out in the center. Are we good? And So we're aiming for all 3 prongs to be the same height. So we're going about there. Probably really should hoop up, but I just wanted to get stuck in, you know. I'm excited. Now, come back to the center and go out halfway through that segment. We have tied a knot. Terribly good at knots. I'm outstanding in the skills of unexpected knots and unthreading the needle. And then taking 5,000 attempts to rethread the needle. And I can't even say that I have the excuse of not being able to see, because I absolutely can. My husband and I joke that we can't get divorced now because our eyesight has aged differently. I can't see far away. He can't see up close. So now we need one another. We're constantly saying to one another, what does that say? If we're watching football together on a TV screen that's far away, he has to tell me the score. Or if we're watching it on our mobile phone together, I have to tell him the tiny little score. Okay, so now we've got 5. Any combination of uneven strokes here. So you could have 7. Now what we're going to do is go over, under, and it's just weaving around. Over, under. And because you've got an odd number of spokes, it will alternate, making a woven pattern. And what you might find, the needle keeps wanting to stab the fabric, turn it around and put the blunt end of the needle through. And it will alleviate that problem for you. Now, I've never done it on such flimsy fabric before. So this is a first for me too. I've normally done it on linen or cotton or, you know, a nice firm felt. I essentially sort of see this project as practice, you know. It's practice on what it's like to work on clothing, because I've long wanted to embroider on my own clothing. I've seen online everyone using Solvay. You know, you can sort of draw on it, iron it on, embroider, and then it washes off. And so I bought some. Now I don't know what brand it was, and I don't know if these things make a difference, but the product I purchased and tried is not something I'm a fan of. It, what's happening here? Why is that loose? It, that's disappointing. I'll have to catch it up later. Very sticky. It's a very sticky product, so it coats your needle in sticky. So it's like working with everything coated in glue. And I did not enjoy it at all. So I would much rather work without. Okay, we're getting close to the point where I am going to have to attend to the fact that that spoke is too loose. I'd say it was caught up and I didn't realise. And then it's freed itself. Rather than having to undo the whole thing, I'm just going to take some stitches to secure it. I don't want to be precious about it. That should do. Oh. So how about you? Have you embroidered on your clothing before? Have you gotten creative with your mending? I got creative with mending my jeans when I went to Japan. They wore right through. I deliberately took my oldest pair with the intention of throwing them away at the end of the trip, thus leaving space in my carry-on luggage for my fabric purchases. You see, we went with just carry-on because there is nothing more exhausting than being a slave to your luggage when you're on holiday. Anyway, unfortunately, the jeans gave up the ghost earlier than I expected they would, and so I did some fabulous borrow style stitching on the jeans to patch them. And it was very lovely and relaxing. But you know what I found those cheeky jeans did? The borrow stitching with the beautiful fabrics behind did stay firm and intact. Very lovely. It's well done. But the jeans themselves just continued to fray and wear around the new patch. So they didn't care at all about my ingenious patching and mending. They were determined to still be worn out. Now, because I like to play yarn chicken, I've left myself not enough room here to do anything with. I'm simply going to put one of these under the spoke. Simply, she says. One of these under the spoke. And tie knot. Okay, whoops. Don't want to pull it too tight. There we go. Isn't that pretty? You thinking what I'm thinking? I hope it's not, in a position that looks funny. All right, what have we got here for ribbons? Ribbons. I think I like this colour green with it. So this is silken ribbon from Cascade House Embroidery, which means it's not silk. It's pretend. So you can still use chenille needles. So for wool and silk, use chenille needles because the big needle eye sort of parts the fabric, you know, so that there's not so much drag on the ribbon. Let's see. There's a couple of different things you can do for leaves. Let's try. A lazy daisy. Let's see what we think. It's quite nice. Okay. I'll do the other one here. Oh dear, that didn't work well. I was hoping to, oh, we did, came through, good. All right, we'll leave that all threaded up, ready for its next turn on something. Let's go in search of our next hole. All right, I've got one down here. Oh, there's a good one here. Let's take you. So once again, I'm going to patch the hole. So if you look carefully, there's these rows or columns of stitches, and that's what I'm doing. I'm just laying the thread through the loops. So at the top of the hole, you'll see a loop. Put the thread in the loop. And try and go through a couple more loops that exist to anchor it. And when you've done all the stitches that run up and down, then you come back and do the ones that go from side to side. See, Queen of Unthreading. I've just done it. Isn't it fun to think that you could end up with a bespoke piece of clothing? I wonder if, does sheep have a problem with moths? I know they do with flies, don't they? I get in a trance with stitching like this. Sorry for going quiet. It's just so delightfully peaceful for me. I've always been someone that delights in quiet companionship. Just people peacefully sitting together, working on something creative, enjoying the synchronicity. Getting in the flow together. It's like that when you do Tai Chi. Have you ever done Tai Chi? It's a magical experience when you feel the energy of those around you in the same slow, fluid movements. Okay, that patched that well together enough. This time, I'm going to do the same rows, but in ribbon, so you can see what that looks like. It's a bit bigger. But I'm not going to waste ribbon to make the spokes. So I will get some embroidery thread. Delicious tea. I love this one. Someone was asking me to go with my mini needle books. Where do I put my thread? How do I store my thread? This is actually what I do. So I just put any offcuts of thread when I'm finished on this hoop, sort of in rainbow order. So this is all I have at the moment on this one. and then to travel with it, I'll just do that. You know, it just is compact, throws in my bag. I might go with this darker one that matches the jumper a little. Right, where's my hole? There it is. That's not quite at the center. Let's try that again. Gosh, I tell you what. This is a bit of a bigger one, so I'm going to put more spokes on it. There is one problem when you colour match your thread. It's very hard to see. Alright, we're currently at 5 spokes, so now I do need to do another 2 so that we will have an odd number. Because if you have an even number of spokes, the weaving doesn't work, because everything ends up over on the same spoke or under it. Now, if you're not feeling confident about this, you can absolutely draw a circle and then divide it up into even segments, and then use that as a guide. Nice. Righto. Let's get ourselves a length of this beauty. It really is nice just to sort of limit your selection. I like doing a pull and just saying, right, that's it. Because when you've got, 40 colours to choose from or something, it really does become very overwhelming. And you end up, instead of invigorated and enjoying your craft, you're fatigued from making so many choices. So there really is something to be said for just having a small box of goodies and sitting and creating with those. So with ribbon embroidery, you just take a stab through to secure it on the needle. You can tie a knot in the end, or you can leave a little tail that you stitch down afterwards. If you tie a knot, don't tie a knot right on the end because it will come undone. Okay, so you start behind the piece. Come up at the centre of one of your spokes. And away we go. Right, under, over, under. It's lovely working with the white ribbon. Happens very quickly, doesn't it? Now, you don't want to work so loosely that it leaves big gaps, but also you do not want to pull it tight. This really is a Goldilocks scenario. You have to do it just right. Just allow. Now the other thing you can do with jumpers that have been completely destroyed is felt them. And then use the pieces of lovely felted wool. I've skipped one. No, that's right. That was over. It was supposed to be. Where did I skip one? Under, over, under. Because I'm about to go under this one again and it shouldn't be. Somewhere I've messed up. Under, over, under, over, under, over. Goodness, I don't know. There, that's where I've messed up. I've gone over to, you know? No. Yes, there. Wonder if it's retrievable. Let's try. Over that one, under this one. No, but that one's what? But that's ended up under every time. Under, over, under. You see what happens if you keep doing the same? You end up with the visible string. I'm going to cheat. I'm going to wrap over string. Over. I'm torn because I'm sort of thinking that's big enough now, but I've got just this amount of thread left. Okay, so what I'm going to do is with that piece that's left is come out just a little way away. Up here. And do Easy daisy. Make it like a little bud, and I've got a little bit more. And so this one, I think I just can do it this way, a ribbon stitch. So you've stabbed through itself. Gently pull. That also makes a cute little bud. Okay, so not enough to tie with a knot here. So this is what I mean by finishing. You can just get some thread. And stitch it down. Ta-da! Okay, now I want some green wool to finish this. Okay, so fly stitch around these to give them their little stems and attach them. So that's what you did to start the woven ribbon rows off. Let's make a Y. There's the two arms in the air. Come out at the center. And come in here. I recently went through the crafty cupboard and pulled out projects that have been in my possession for like over 20 years that I have no desire to finish. You know, sometimes you look at things and think, oh, I'm not sure, maybe. And I just thought it's time to make, you know, breathing room for the things I do use and do want to make and use all the time. So it was a lot of sort of paper crafting things. And I put them in the bag for donation. And it feels great. But anyway, in that process, what I uncovered was a little box labelled embroidery, and that's all I used to have. And in it was a wool embroidered hot water bottle cover that's where I first learnt wool embroidery. Like, this is a really long time ago. Probably before I had children. And I thought, what a waste that it's just sitting in a box. Like, I want to go and buy a hot water bottle and use it again. So that's what I think I shall do. Yeah, so I did a hot water bottle cover and a coat hanger. Absolutely loved it. Rightio, let's see. Will we give it a leaf here? Maybe one out here. Let's give a leaf out here. So the leaf I'm going to do is essentially a stitch like this to get you started. And then it's a series of fly stitches. Really can see the benefits of working in a hoop for this, or definitely stabilizing. The back of your work, because it is being a bit of a fiddle. I've done these quite far apart, gives it a nice sort of lacy, ferny type feel, or you can actually do them layered tightly one below the other, and then it gives it a very solid feel to the leaf. There you go. So the premise of this one is the same as the other one that we did. There she is. Just two different materials. Gives you a very different look. Same skills. This could be very addictive. I wonder where I'll stop. Will it just the whole thing be covered? Well, thank you for spending an hour with me. I did this one in real time today to show you that, you know, stitching can be slow. Slow down and enjoy it. I spent an hour. I had fun. I only got 2 flowers done. I'm a little bit in love with the blue on the blue. Really, I'm wondering if I just stick all blues, just make it all blue. Food for thought. Who knows what I'll do? Well, thank you so much for joining me, everyone. It was lovely having you here with me, and I wish you a good evening, and I hope you're inspired to beautify something that has a hole in it at your home. And I will see you next time. Bye-bye.